Howdy folks, my name's Christian. Got the Valmet out with the flail mower on our farm here doing some clipping of a pasture that our steers had browsed through about a week ago. That's a nice defined line you can see there. Left side's cut, right side is obviously not. And it's obvious that there's an invasion of daisies in this field. I mean, they're pretty and nice to look at, but you know, when you're grazing cattle, you want forage or vegetation rather that the cattle want to forage. And so we're bringing it down to that 6-inch mark. The cattle won't be in here for another 2-3 weeks, so it's perfect. We've had a really wet June. It's rained for a week straight, and that grass should grow perfectly. But look at this. I mean, the cattle have grazed through this, and don't get me wrong, they're, you know, first off, they were on 1-day paddock rotation, so they're getting the top half of every single plant, as you can see there with the squared off tips. You can tell the cattle have bit the grass and eaten through it and been picky and picked the stuff that's tasty, but they've gotten the highest protein stuff. And in the spring, that's important because you want those weaned calves. That steer group we got running is a group of about 10 yearlings right now. You want those calves to be getting the highest protein vegetation that they can get to put on that weight earlier on in their life, right? So pasture management and cattle growth obviously go hand in hand. A lot of the regenerative guys focus on that especially. We're not so much concerned with making fat cows as we are as, you know, providing optimal conditions for the land and animals to thrive. And that's just a very general way of saying it. If your animals are thriving, then they're obviously gaining great weight and getting the best quality vegetation and feed that you can offer them. And if it's a win-win for your land will produce year after year higher quality feed, right? So that's the plan. You don't want to just be taking from your land and not giving back. You want to be giving back to your land just as much as you're taking from it. Actually, you want to be giving back more. So clipping, why would you do something like this? Well, those grasses that have been bit down in size, and obviously for them to regrow, it takes moisture and sunlight. But with all these daisies and weeds and, you know, grass that's gone to head above it, it creates a lot of competition for that grass to catch up. So by clipping them down, you eliminate competition for those desired plants to grow, and you're knocking down a carbon floor early on in your season, so everything that's clipped off falls to the ground and creates a carbon floor which overlaps each other. And there's obviously a multitude of benefits for that, one of the main ones being moisture capture. The more of a carbon floor you have above your soil, between that and the air, the more of a moisture capture you're going to receive. A. B, the more fertility it's going to produce. Because if you have bare soil, there's not much going on there. No root system to really absorb anything, and it has exposure to the elements, the rain, the wind, and when cattle walk over it, they kick it around and can smudge it up. Now, much more happens than that, but when you have carbon overlaying it, you have that protection layer that insulates the soil, protects it from the harsh exposure to the elements, and creates an ecosystem for other microorganisms to start developing, fungal webs to start spawning and reproducing. And, you know, many people don't look at the land as an organism in of itself, but it is. So, you know, the world's starting to wake up to the fact that the soil health actually means something, and that everything that grows on top of it depends on the soil. So it makes sense to be focusing on soil health so that everything within it and above it can thrive. And that's what us regenerative guys focus on. You know, there's nothing wrong with farming however you want to farm, but there is just such benefit to having a holistic outlook in how you deal with your land that it becomes a no-brainer, because your pastures get thicker, your feed gets better, your cattle live a higher quality of life, you keep them on the move, they're happier, more hygienic, they're grazing the land as they would in nature, moving on from certain spots and not left in certain areas to make it, you know, where the cattle can pulverize it and make it go rank. You keep them moving. You keep the cattle moving and everything's good. Once they stop, you got some problems and you better figure out how you're gonna move them soon. So it's probably just gonna be a quick video here. I thought it was kind of cool. Stop the tractor. As you can see, I still got a bit more to do. I'm gonna wrap this one up and, you know, hopefully more videos to come. Thanks.